So the Kinderspiel is a category in the Spiel des Jahres nominations for kids games. These are very light games because the regular Spiel are family weight games. These are kids games for kids. Let me preface this by saying I do not play kids games. I do not have kids. I know very little about kids. I have no idea what kids games are like. So my opinion as far as are these games good for kids shouldn't matter at all because I literally have no idea. This is just me as a gamer who plays a lot of kind of mid-weight and lightweight Euros, as well as kind of everything, but that's what I focus on, thought of these games. So take that with a grain of salt. So with that, let's get right into it. The first game I'm going to talk about is by Rainier Knizia. It's just M's and an exclamation point. I assume that's how it's said. And obviously, Knizia is probably the most prolific game designer, incredibly well known, designs all sorts of games of all sorts of weights. So, and this game is published by Pegasus Spiel. It's a cooperative game where you are, I think, mice trying to eat all the food in a kitchen before the cat can get through the door. And the way you do that is there's kind of a puzzle style thing with a bunch of different foods in a bunch of different quadrants, and you roll some dice. There's a little bit of push your luck where you roll dice and then you cover up the food that you rolled, and you get to pick where on the chart you cover up, and you can choose to re-roll some of the dice, like a lot of roll dice push your luck games, to get all the food. One thing that I really like about this game is that there are a couple different rule variants that make it go from very easy to harder. I mean, we failed as 4 adults playing the game, so clearly it was kind of hard. So that's really good if you have kids, because you can start them, at 5 or 6 with the easiest, and as they grow, you can make it a little bit more challenging as you get better and better at it. It's got really nice artwork. It's got nice wooden dice. So in general, that's all good. It's a cooperative game, which I imagine is good for kids. All in all, I felt like it was just kind of you do a thing and then you do a thing. There wasn't a whole lot of depth of strategy. There wasn't a whole lot of benefit to pushing your luck. You just kind of succeeded or failed. I wasn't super invested in the outcomes of things. So I didn't love it. But again, that's me as an adult who would never be playing these kids' games normally. So the fact that I didn't like it for that reason doesn't mean much as far as it goes. But yeah, good little game. Next up, Stone Age Junior. I was really excited to try out Stone Age Junior because I love Stone Age. It has great components. It's got big, chunky wooden pieces, and they're different shapes where like the pottery in it or something, or like actual like pots. It looks great on a table. I sat down at the table and it looked like it was based around a rondel, which I was really excited about because I love rondel mechanics, where you're going around kind of like Stone Age, where you're going to different areas and collecting different things so that you can build huts by getting sets of things. But it's actually a memory game, which turns out is very common in kids' games, where you have all of the different locations are on tiles that you put around the board, and then you flip that over and you go to the location. There's also a little bit of randomness with you flip. It's not random, actually. It's perfect information, but memory, where they're dice, so you can there are different ways to get to different places that you need to go. It turns out I'm awful at memory games, and they're very, very frustrating to me, and I don't like them at all because it's a thing that some people are incredibly good. I was playing with J.R. Honeycutt, and he is incredibly good at memory games where he could just remember where everything is perfectly, and I can't, so then I'm just bad at playing a game, even though the strategy of the game, like where to go when, I wasn't necessarily bad at. So it's a thing that somebody can be incredibly good at or incredibly bad at, which I understand is great. I can totally see how that's great for kids' games because that is a balancing thing. All in all, without the memory, there is not really strategy. You're just trying to collect the things on the card, and you can just, if you know where the tile is, you can just flip it over and go to that tile and collect it, and then get the thing on the card. So again, this one for an adult that doesn't play kids games left me wanting. I'm not interested in playing it again, but the components are great. If you like memory games, I imagine there's some fun to be had there, and I could totally see kids enjoying this. And again, kind of like, It's a thing that you can introduce your kids to. It's familiar. And then Stone Age, which is a pretty simple game when it comes down to it. You know, when, I don't know, maybe they're 8 or 9, you can start getting them into that kind of thing. So again, it's a good introduction to the hobby, but as a game itself, I wasn't in love with it. All right, the final game nominated this year for the Kinderspiel Jahres is Leo Goes to the Barber. It's designed by Leo Colovini and produced by Abacus Spiel. When I sat down at the table, the person teaching me described it as my first Stone Age, or not, I'm sorry, my first Stone Age. That would be my first Stone Age would be my first Stone Age. They described it as my first Time Stories, which is a way weirder thing. And it was the third game I had played of these, so I wasn't expecting very much for it. And I was like, how are you going to make my first Time Stories? The theme of the game is you're a lion going to get your haircut from the barber, but you are also very talkative, so people stop you along the way, and you only have 12 hours in the day to get it done, so you might accidentally talk the whole day away instead of getting your haircut. You only have 5 days to try to get your haircut before it gets too long, I guess. It's also a cooperative game like and so the way it works is everybody gets a hand of cards, and they are different colors and different numbers. So I'll have a blue 4 and a pink 1 and a green 2, things like that. And you play a card in front of you, and then you move however many spaces it says on the card. So a red 5 or a red 4, you would move 4 spaces. There's a pathway of tiles that you're moving across that are all face down. So there's a memory element in this game as well. And you flip it face up when you land on it. So a red 4, you would move 4, flip it face up. If the animal on that tile, there's usually animals on the bottom of the tiles, is the same color as the card you played, you don't stop and talk to it, so you don't waste any time. So you want to get a red one. If it isn't the same color, you do stop and talk to it, so then it'll take 3 hours in the day to talk to this animal. And again, you only have 12 hours in the day. So at first, it's totally random. You have no idea what color the tiles are going to be. They're all face down, so it's just a guessing game. But after you finish the first day, you go back to the beginning, the tiles stay in the same places, you re-deal out the cards, and you try again. So now you know that 4 tiles in, say, is a pink animal, if you remember that. So you're starting like Time Stories, you get more and more information each time through to try to get through to the end. So I like this game a lot, actually. It's got fun components. To count the rounds, you have a lion, and it's like a puzzle piece on the head, and you put hair on it, like puzzle pieces. That's really fun. It's got a clock that moves. It's got a big chunky wooden lion that you move. Both times I played it, the first time it took us 4 times out of 5 times through, and these are all adults, and we're not playing by the adult rules, we're playing by the kids' rules. So there's a challenge there. I think the second time we got through on the third one, we had like moments where we all cheered and stuff, which is great in games. And I could imagine that's great in a kid's game where it feels really good to do well or get lucky, things like that. Like the other games, it scales and gets harder, where we played the easiest version, and then there's a harder version where you can't talk, you can't like discuss the stuff unless you land on a parrot, which then lets you talk. And then there's also an even harder version where you have to stop right before the barber, which makes it really hard. So I really like this game. I thought it was way more interesting than the other two. I had way more fun playing it. So if I was going to have to pick the winner this year, I would pick this game just because I enjoyed it the most, given I don't play kids games. So I have no idea what criteria they're based off of. But if you're looking for a child's game to play as a 30-year-old adult, this would be the one that I would suggest. And if I had kids, I would definitely pick this one up. I've got a niece and a nephew, so I'm probably, if it gets distributed over here in the US, which a lot of these never see US distribution, but if it does get distributed over here in the US, I'll probably pick it up for playing with them because I really like them. And I like playing games with them, and generally I only play hobby games with them. So this will be a fun little departure from those dexterity games. All right, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you check out the other videos of the Spiel nominees that I will link around here that are coming out very quickly if they're not out already. So you can see my breakdown of the Kinderspiel, and the Spiel des Jahres nominees this year. Make sure you follow me on Twitter and Instagram. I'm at Chris Bryan Games. I'd very much appreciate that. And let me know in the comments if you want me to do more videos like this instead of just the board game news, and if so, what kind of videos you would like to see me do, because I'd really like to branch out and start covering more subject matter and stuff like that. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and check out the news when it comes out on every Wednesday. All right, thanks for watching.